Good afternoon and welcome to the European Commission's press room for our daily midday briefing. And thank you also for joining us online and for following us live on Euro by satellite today, Friday, 16th of July. As usual on Fridays, I will start by providing you details regarding the President's agenda for next week. So on Monday morning, President von der Leyen will travel to Czechia as part of her Next Generation EU tour. She will personally hand over the Commission's assessment of the Czech National Recovery and Resilience Plan. In Prague, she will meet Prime Minister Andrej Babiš together with Vice President Vera Jourova. She will also visit the Prague State Opera and the National Museum, and she will discuss investments in energy efficiency in buildings in particular. Later on Monday, the President will receive Bill Gates, the co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, on Tuesday. She will chair the college meeting, which exceptionally will take place on a Tuesday and not as a Wednesday, as we normally organize our college meetings. And this is because on Wednesday there is a Belgian national holiday. Then on Saturday and Sunday, the President will be in Austria. On Saturday, she will meet Angelika Winzig, a member of the European Parliament. And on Sunday, she will meet Sebastian Kurz, the Federal Chancellor of Austria. And now over to Stefan, who will provide you some news regarding investments in the French department La Réunion. He will take over this news because he's replacing Viviane today. Stefan, are you there?
I'm there. Bonjour, good morning everyone. La Commission européenne a approuvé aujourd'hui un financement de 67 millions d'euros pour l'agrandissement de l'aéroport de Roland-Garros sur l'île française de La Réunion. Cet investissement vert et durable augmentera la capacité de l'aéroport et assurera d'importantes rénovations. Avec des avantages économiques et sociaux directs, le projet est un exemple clair de l'aide apportée par l'Union européenne dans le domaine des infrastructures. Cet investissement répond aux objectifs du Green Deal et améliore la connectivité des régions les plus reculées de l'Union européenne. Plus d'informations, vous allez les trouver comme d'habitude dans notre Daily News ainsi que sur la plateforme des données ouvertes. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup Stéphane. Et je continue donc avec les annonces pour aujourd'hui. Comme prochain point, je tiens à vous rappeler que le commissaire Didier Reynders participe aujourd'hui à la réunion informelle des ministres de la Justice et des Affaires intérieures qui a lieu en Slovénie. Les ministres discuteront des aspects de justice de la loi sur l'intelligence artificielle et de la manière de garantir la protection des droits fondamentaux des citoyens dans le développement des nouvelles technologies. Le commissaire présentera également les instruments juridiques et les initiatives en matière de justice adaptées aux enfants. Une conférence de presse avec le commissaire Reynders aura lieu vers 13h30. Je vous invite donc, comme toujours, de garder vos questions à ce sujet de justice pour cette conférence de presse. Donc 13h30, vous pouvez bien évidemment la suivre sur EBS. And before concluding today's announcements, allow me to inform you that from today on, we have a new member in the team. And allow me to introduce to you Verle Neutz, and I will ask her to join me on stage. Verle is replacing Marta, whom perhaps you've noticed is expecting a happy event. So Marta is on maternity leave, and Verle is joining us to replace her during this happy period. Verle is Belgian. She joins us from the Commission's Secretariat General, And she's also had experience working in a representation, in the Commission's representation here in Belgium as a European semester officer. So she is specialized in the fields which she will cover if you wish. So you will be invited to ask to Verle all your questions regarding economic affairs, financial affairs, and jobs and social rights. So precisely Marta's portfolio. So once more, welcome, Verle. I know that the colleagues will keep you very busy. You are joining us at a very intense time for your files. And yes, perhaps you say a few words so that the colleagues see you and hear you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dana. No, I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you. Indeed, this will be a very busy and intense time. And yes, looking forward to working with all of you. Have a very good day.
Thank you very much, Verle. She will be back on the podium very soon, I fear. And with that, we finished our announcements, and I will be happy to take your questions. Like always, I will take questions both from the press room and from you who are connected remotely. And I will start with Irini. Go ahead, Irini.
Thank you, Dana. It's on foreign affairs. And according to Cypriot police spokesperson, Turkey's petrol boat fired warning shots against Cypriot Coast Guard vessel. What's the message EU is going to send? Because it's a few days before Erdogan's visit, and on the other hand, taking into consideration that is also a positive agenda offered to Turkey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irini. And Nabila joined me to provide you an answer.
Hello, Irini, and thank you for your question. Well, for the time being, we have no details on the reports that can therefore not comment on them. I would refer you to the Cypriot authorities, but as a general point, let me stress that any acts of violence by any actors in the Mediterranean are reprehensible and deplorable. The EU has a strategic interest in a stable and secure environment in the Eastern Mediterranean and in the development of a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship with Turkey. Turkey is expected to unequivocally to commit to good neighborly relations and normalize its relations with the Republic of Cyprus.
Thank you very much, Nabila. Since Nabila is on stage, we continue taking questions on foreign affairs. So first, do you have any additional questions on this subject, on Turkey? So please only keep your hand up if you have questions on Turkey and on foreign affairs. Jean, est-ce que tu as donc une question sur les affaires étrangères? Non, ce n'est pas le cas. Il a levé la main. Je constate qu'il n'y a plus de questions affaires étrangères. Donc, merci beaucoup, Nabila. Nous passons à d'autres questions. Jean, vas-y. Est-ce qu'on a l'audio des gens? La vidéo serait aussi sympa. Mais pour l'instant, nous n'avons rien. Donc Jean, tu dois appuyer
Allô?
sur... Jean, tu dois appuyer sur... Maintenant,
Oui,
ça
vous
va.
m'entendez?
Oui, maintenant ça va.
Oula, j'ai un sifflement horrible. Bon.
Effectivement.
Écoutez, si vous m'entendez... Alors, attendez une seconde.
Oui.
Je crois que j'ai
Non,
trouvé
problème.
d'où ça vient. Voilà, c'est bon là. Question à propos des inondations en Belgique et en Allemagne. Je voudrais savoir justement si l'Allemagne et la Belgique ont demandé l'activation du mécanisme européen. Je ne sais plus comment il s'appelle, d'ailleurs j'ai oublié le nom, sécurité civile, je ne sais pas comment elle s'appelle. Enfin bref, s'ils ont une demande particulière et si vous êtes en contact avec les autorités belges et les autorités allemandes sur ce sujet. Voilà, nous faire un petit point juridique et technique sur ce qu'il en est. Merci.
Merci beaucoup pour ta question, Jean. d'abord, permets-moi de te dire que nous sommes très préoccupés par la situation dans ces pays et nous suivons cela de très près et nous sommes prêts à apporter toute l'aide que nous pouvons aux autorités de ces pays et aux personnes qui sont concernées par ces inondations. Je passe la parole à Stéphane qui, en remplaçant Balázs, aura des détails sur le type de support que nous avons apporté jusqu'à l'instant et ce que nous pouvons encore faire. Stéphane, es-tu là?
Bonjour tout le monde, aujourd'hui je m'appelle Viviane et Balázs. En ce qui concerne la Belgique a en effet demandé l'activation du mécanisme de la protection civile et sur base de ce mécanisme, 3 pays déjà ont offert du soutien. La France, par exemple, a offert du soutien en forme de bateaux et d'hélicoptères, avec plusieurs équipes qui sont déjà arrivées en Belgique. L'Autriche a également offert plusieurs bateaux, ainsi que l'Italie qui a offert une équipe de sauvetage, des hélicoptères et des bateaux. D'autres offres sont en cours d'études pour voir si d'autres équipes venant d'autres États membres peuvent encore rejoindre les activités en Belgique. En ce qui concerne l'Allemagne, nous sommes comme d'habitude prêts à offrir notre soutien. Nous avons un mécanisme de protection civile qui permet justement d'activer ce genre d'aide entre les États membres. Il est aux États membres intéressés d'activer ce mécanisme s'ils ont le besoin de soutien venant d'autres États. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Et bien évidemment, nous avons aussi la possibilité d'activer Copernicus pour présenter des cartes détaillées et qui pourraient permettre bien évidemment d'identifier de manière plus précise et plus efficace les endroits qui sont concernés par le soutien qui est nécessaire à apporter, qu'il est nécessaire d'apporter aux citoyens qui pourraient être coincés ou mis en danger par ces inondations. Jean, je pense que tu as une question de suivi. Vas-y. Non, je pense que je ne vois plus ta main levée. C'était peut-être une erreur dans les systèmes. Enfin, je passe donc maintenant la parole à d'autres collègues qui auraient peut-être des questions au même sujet. Est-ce que vous avez des questions, des suivis ou d'autres questions au sujet des intempéries qui frappent certains pays de l'Europe à l'heure actuelle? Donc gardez vos mains levées, s'il vous plaît, seulement si vous avez des questions là-dessus. I believe that Hans has a question about this, so Hans, go ahead.
Oui, merci. And sorry, I've taken my camera off because I'm traveling. So sorry for some background noise here as well. I just have a question on the European flood awareness system. There was criticism that the system has sent an early warning this week and that there was a monumental failure of the system because those warnings have not been followed up. And one of the persons who set up the system said you don't expect to see so many people dying from floods in 2021. This is very, very serious indeed. I'd like to hear whether you have a comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Hans. I will see if Stefan has any comment or any answer in relation to this.
I'm afraid I would have to get back to you. I don't think I have any comments to give at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. So are there any additional questions about this subject, about the floodings which are hitting dramatically certain countries of Europe at this stage? No, I don't see any, so we can open the floor to other questions. And Lorenzo was willing to ask one. Go ahead, Lorenzo.
Oui, je crois que c'est pour Vera qui vient d'arriver. Hier, le commissaire Gentiloni a parlé de la réforme du pacte de stabilité dans une vidéoconférence et il a dit que de façon très claire que la réforme du pacte de stabilité qui sera mise sur table plus tard, probablement l'année prochaine, devra nécessairement être une réforme de la législation, c'est-à-dire qu'il ne suffira pas d'avoir des communications interprétatives comme celle de 2015, et il faudra une véritable refonte de la législation secondaire concernant la réforme du pacte de stabilité. Alors ma question est-ce que dans la Commission, cette vision est partagée par les autres, ou c'est trop tôt encore pour pouvoir définir de façon si précise au moins l'objectif de cette réforme? Merci.
Merci beaucoup pour ta question, Lorenzo, et merci aussi beaucoup pour me fournir une partie de la réponse. Dans la question que tu as posée toi-même, effectivement, je pense qu'il est trop tôt de se pencher maintenant sur les détails du débat sur le pacte de stabilité et pour voir de quelle manière devrons-nous éventuellement ajuster dans la mise en œuvre ou dans la fonte législative de ce pacte. Donc, laisse-nous de temps pour mener les discussions et pour voir de quelle manière nous devons poser le pacte de stabilité avant l'année prochaine. Voilà, merci beaucoup. Y a-t-il d'autres questions à ce sujet, à ce stade? Je vois la main d'Oliver levée. Oliver, non, ce n'est pas à ce sujet. Mais comme il n'y a pas d'autres questions posées à ce sujet, donc je peux te donner la parole. Oliver, vas-y.
Thank you. Hi, Dana. A question on the travel plans of the president. First on the meeting she's going to have in the Czech Republic with Prime Minister Babiš. Is she going to raise the issue of Agrofert, the Prime Minister's agricultural holding, and all the problems it has with audits, with the use of EU funds and so forth? And related to that, can you tell us when the audit of Agrofert by DG Agri is finally going to be published and finished? I think this is several years in the making. Secondly, on the trip to Austria, why is she going to Austria again? She was only there, I think, 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. So what's the specific purpose? And why does she specifically meet Madame Winzig in Austria, who's a European deputy, who's in Brussels quite often, so you don't have to take a plane and contribute to climate warming to meet Madame Winzig? So what are the issues she's going to talk about with Madame Winzig and Chancellor Kurz? And finally, on the meeting she had with the Polish Prime Minister Morawiecki, I'm a bit confused, and maybe you can clarify. She said that the issue of rule of law was kind of touched upon or talked about, but Prime Minister Morawiecki said himself on the record that he had to raise it, and he raised it only in the end of the beginning. So in the end of the meeting. So can you clarify, did the president raise the problem with the Constitutional Tribunal, its refusal to respect EU law herself? And what answer did she get? Or was it Prime Minister Morawiecki who did this in the end? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivier. A host of questions about specific meetings of the president with European leaders, and you know very well that we are not in the habit to comment in detail what is said by various parties in the meetings that the president has, but let me take them one by one. So first you asked about the president's trip to Czechia on Monday. As I said, the aim of this meeting is to share and to hand over the result of the Commission's assessment of the Czech National Recovery and Resilience Plan. So the Commission is close to completing its assessment, and on Monday the President will hand over the result of that assessment. So that is the purpose of this meeting. But then, of course, in any encounter that she has with European leaders, other issues may be raised depending on the circumstances and what is important. And as you know, the President will also have a small meeting with the press where she will make her views known about these matters about the National Recovery Plan from Prague around noon. So I cannot tell you in advance what exactly the President will say, but as always, I can assure you that the President raises the issues which are important from the Commission's perspective, which are topical, with her counterparts from the European Council. On specifically where we are with the results of the audit on Agrofair, this would be a question from Balázs. So Stefan, who is replacing him today, will perhaps have something to add, but I will first continue with the other questions that you asked about the other meetings that she will have with a number of Austrian counterparts over the weekend. Yes, indeed, you are right that the President was in Austria 3 weeks ago. I think you're right. In relation to Next Generation EU, so there too, it was a relatively rapid trip in order to hand over to the Austrian Chancellor the result of our assessment of the National Recovery and Resilience Plan and to visit a project. And this time, the trip to Austria will also foresee a meeting with the Chancellor. Believe me, there can be many things that one discuss between two European leaders, and it's. I wouldn't be that surprised that that the President sees twice in the space of a month the same European leader. Then you also asked about the President's meeting over dinner a few days ago in Brussels with the Polish Prime Minister. I think our communication on this matter was very clear. The subject of the rule of law was raised during that discussion between the President and the Polish Prime Minister. This is a matter which is important for the Commission. We are tirelessly telling you about how important rule of law, with all the aspects that are relevant or topical in relation to the rule of law in Poland. And indeed, that matter was discussed between the President and the Prime Minister. I'm not in a position to tell you who exactly pronounced the first word in relation to that discussion. So who was exactly the one to say? The President had made it clear beforehand that the issue will raise. The matter was raised and was discussed, and this is how we also communicated about it. But I will not be in a position to give you more details about what was said in a discussion between two EU leaders. Now, I will give the floor to Stefan to see if he has an update to provide you in relation to the audit pertaining to the conflict of interest issue in Czechia.
Thank you very much. I don't think I can give a very big update here. I can only say that while exchanges between the Commission orders and the Czech authorities may continue in the context of remaining open issues, the audit procedure as such does not foresee any further steps. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Stefan. Are there any additional questions on this matter? So please only keep your hand up if you have questions about this matter. David, vas-y.
Yes, thank you, Dana. David Carretta, Radio Radicale. In the tweets that President von der Leyen published after the meeting with Prime Minister Morawiecki, she said that it was a good exchange on rule of law issues. I would like to know what is, for President von der Leyen, a good exchange. If it means that she was reassured on the fact that Poland will respect EU laws and EU court judgment and so on, or good exchange is that just a nice dinner around the table discussing stuff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. The President clearly referred to the exchange itself and not to the menu, which they had during their dinner a few days ago in the Berlaymont. and a good discussion can mean many things. It can mean that we achieved in raising a certain number of subjects which are important for both parts, which is the case. They did go through very important matters on our joint agenda, from Green Deal related issues to, of course, the recovery, which is on everybody's minds, and in the case of Poland, also to the rule of law. It's a good exchange doesn't mean that everything is set, but it means that we were able to discuss in a sort of comprehensive way the matters on the agenda which were intended to be raised. And that's the only thing I can add in relation to the way the President qualified that discussion in the tweet. David, you have a follow-up question.
Yes, it's about the recovery and resilience plan of Poland and Hungary. Since you indirectly mentioned it in your answer. I'm wondering if you have any update on those two files. The deadline for the Hungarian has passed 4 days ago, and I would like to know if you have asked formally to the Hungarian government to extend the deadline. Second, Poland has asked an extension of 1 month, if I'm correct. So you should complete the evaluation before the 3 of August. And I'm wondering if you are going to proceed in the same way, basically extend again the deadline. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. So first of all, in relation to Hungary, there are no updates. The situation is as it was during the past days. And allow me to recall you, indeed more time is needed in order to address certain points in relation to the Hungarian plan. And as we have said over the past days, for the moment, discussions are continuing. We are looking at the latest answers received from the Hungarian part, which we received at the end of last week. So our evaluation or consideration of the reply is continuing. So no news there. We have not requested at this stage officially an extension of the time needed for the evaluation. As we have said, for the moment, if it's a matter of days, we proceed on an informal this prolongation of the discussions with the Hungarian side. So if it's a matter of weeks, we may be considering a more formalized step in relation to this extension. But for the moment, since we are talking about just days after the indicative deadline for having our assessment presented, we have not requested such a step formally. In relation to Poland, there is nothing new to tell you either. As you say, the Polish side has requested an extension, which is indeed until the beginning of August. So our analysis and assessment of the Polish plan continues. Thank you. Are there any other questions in relation to this subject? So please only keep your hand up if you have questions in relation to this subject. I see several hands up. So Mose, is your question about this? Mose, are you still there? That doesn't seem to be the case. So then, Gabriela, go ahead.
Gabriela Baczyńska at Reuters. I wanted to ask two things since you mentioned the Polish recovery plan. Is the Commission nearing the completion of its assessment? When can we expect this decision? And do you feel that on sort of technical level everything has already been agreed, or there are still question marks that the Commission has over the plan? That's one thing. And second, because you said you keep on telling us how important the rule of law is for this Commission, I was wondering if the Commission is hence willing to make use of the new rule of law conditionality mechanism and start for the first time under this new mechanism the process of freezing some of funds for Hungary and Poland. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabriela. So on the first question, our assessment continues, and like always, we do not offer a midterm sort of staged conclusions on on preliminary conclusions in relation to the plans. We will provide our assessment when it is completed, once we have concluded our analysis and our exchanges with our counterparts at the national level. So we can make no comment in relation to points that would be open or on which the discussions continue at this stage. The second one, yes, we are telling you often how important rule of law is for us. I hope that we are also showing how important rule of law is for us and how seriously we take our job of being the guardians of the treaty and on working with the member states to ensure that rule of law principles are implemented in a proper way. As to the conditionality mechanism, there is nothing new that I can tell you, and I cannot preempt. It wouldn't be wise to do so as to which countries this mechanism will be applied and when. I think that concludes that series of questions. No, Katalin, you, I think, also have a question on this.
Yes, Dana, thank you very much. This is about the Hungarian recovery plan and the traveling plans of the president. Two Hungarian ministers confirmed the last couple of days that President von der Leyen contacted the Hungarian government in June to prepare a meeting in July in Hungary in order to hand over the Hungarian recovery plan to Prime Minister Orbán. They made it clear that even a date was set for this meeting in July. According to the explanation of the ministers of the Hungarian government, when the Hungarian parliament adopted the child protection law, as they call it, the president of the commission changed her plan. So my question is, can you confirm that President von der Leyen was planning to visit Hungary in July to hand over the approved recovery plan to Prime Minister Orbán, and she changed suddenly her plans? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Katalin. First of all, the golden rule here is that we do not comment, and we will not, and I continue applying this on what national politicians or any other politicians or partners of stakeholders say. On the second leg of your question, whether there were any such plans, well, I can tell you what we have always said. The only existing plans are those that we share with you officially, the ones that we communicate to you, because they have been completed, they have been vetted, they have been agreed, and these are the only trips which we can talk about, the ones that we announce. So I will not be in a position, and I will not enter into discussion about whether any additional ideas for possible visits under the Next Generation EU tour have been envisaged. Our intention is normally within the limits of possibilities of physical availabilities to visit all the countries whose plans are green-lighted by the Commission following a positive assessment from our side. But we are not there with the Hungarian plan. We are not there with all the other plans which have been submitted to the Commission and not yet green-lighted by us. And this is the only thing that I can share with you in relation to Hungary. Lukáš.
Hi, I have two questions. Firstly, I would like to know whether President von der Leyen is planning to visit Warsaw in July and meet with the Polish authorities. And the second, I have a question about the yesterday infringement procedures, but I don't know whether this is the moment against Hungary and Poland, but I don't know whether this is the moment to ask this question or maybe later. I don't know.
I think it's okay to ask this question because I do not see any underhands raised in relation to the visits by the president.
Okay, so European Commission yesterday launched 2 infringement procedures against Hungary and Poland when it comes to LGBTQ. So the base of this infringement against Hungary is Article 2nd of the treaty, so the values. And the base of the infringement against Poland is Article 4, so the lack of the cooperation. But in the title of the press release, you informed that you started the legal action against Poland and Hungary for violating the fundamental rights of LGBTQ people. So later it was repeated by the European Commission representation in Poland on Twitter. So many people shared the tweet. So let's say, given the fact that the Commission has decided to send a letter of formal notice to Poland for the lack of the cooperation, I would like to ask, is the tweet and the title of the press release appropriate? Don't you think that this can create a little bit disinformation? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lukasz. Allow me to reply first on the first part of your question regarding the president's trips. So, as you know, we only announced the president's plans for the future the Fridays before, when we are certain and we have confirmation that any putative planning is actually confirmed. So I have not announced anything regarding Warsaw for next week, and I have no announcements to make regarding any visits by the president to Poland in the month of July, as you asked. For the second part of the question on the infringements launched yesterday, Christian joined me to provide you an answer.
Thank you, Dana. And Lukasz, well, let me remind you, maybe first of all, what this infringement is about. This is about the so-called LGBT ideology free zones in Poland. And, well, thank you for paying attention to our press releases and reading them carefully. Of course, this is what gives our position, and I think it is very clear. The Commission is, of course, concerned that this declaration may violate EU law regarding non-discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation. This is what this whole case is about. I mean, we're not going to turn this press room now into a courtroom. Of course, the legal basis in this case is indeed the lack of sincere cooperation, but clearly our concerns are about discrimination of LGBTI persons and not about problems with technical exchanges. I think that is clear.
Okay, thank you. Are there any additional questions for Christian on this subject? I think first Lukasz has a follow-up question. Go ahead, Lukasz.
Yes. So my question is, does the European Commission believe that Poland violated the fundamental rights of LGBTQ people? Just could you say yes or no, whether this is violation or no?
Lukasz, I think we have explained this in quite some detail yesterday in our press release, which you have for sure read in detail, as we saw from your question. Yes, and you can also read it there. The Commission is concerned that these declarations may violate EU law regarding non-discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation. Unfortunately, for many months, the Polish authorities have not delivered the necessary information that we were asking for, because you need, for this case, of course, to, as we always do, to look very carefully into all the legal details. It's a complex case. And this is the reason why legally we have asked now in this infringement. We've used here the angle of the sincere cooperation. But again, I think it is very clear that this is an infringement that is about non-discrimination of LGBTI people. You'll remember that even President von der Leyen has called this out very strongly in her last State of the Union address.
Thank you, Christian, rather. Yesterday was Johannes on the same questions, replacing Christian. Are there any additional questions on this matter that would be for Christian to take? That is not the case, so thank you very much, Christian. Do you have any other questions for us today on any other matters? Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Good afternoon, Tommaso Gallavati, Kronos Italy. It's just a question on vaccines, if I may, because I've read in the Italian press that in some regions in Italy there are batches of vaccines based on the adenovirus technology, nominally, particularly AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, which are not used anymore and they risk to expire. I wonder if the European Union or the member states in the committee are thinking about sending these batches to countries which might need them, because in Italy they're not used anymore because people prefer to use Pfizer and Moderna, but they could actually save lives in other countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Tommaso. It will be for Stefan to answer until he connects. What I can tell you is that the Union and its member states already share vaccines with countries that need them. So this is something which is taking place anyway. And in relation to the specific batches that you referred to, I want to see if Stefan has anything specific to add.
I don't have any specifics to say regarding these particular batches. The only thing I would like to stress from the beginning is that the European Medicines Agency has stressed several times in the meantime that all the vaccines which are part of our portfolio and that have gone through the EMA assessment are effective and safe. The benefits clearly outweigh the risks, so these are very good vaccines that help us in tackling this virus. That's one thing. Second, as soon as batches are acquired, or as soon as purchase orders are placed rather, the member states are in charge of these vaccines, and so the vaccines are the property, the ownership, fall under the ownership of the member states, and it's the responsibility of the member states to handle these vaccines, to administer them to their citizens as quickly as possible, also with a view to reach the 70% target, which is so important to us. Of course, member states have the possibility, if they so wish, to contact other member states and agree on possibilities to exchange those. That is, of course, always possible. This is something that could be discussed at different fora which we have for that. The Health Security Steering Board are important fora where we obviously follow the state of play of the different vaccines and the vaccination campaigns. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Tommaso, you have a follow-up?
Is it just a curiosity? By chance, do you have a number on the number of doses which expired without being injected in the European Union so far? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wonder if we have any numbers or statistics of expired vaccine doses around the European Union, because as Stefan said, it is for the member states to manage their quantities and supply of vaccines which they receive from our suppliers. Stefan, would you have any information about this?
You're correct, Dana. The deliveries take place on purchase orders, and they are bilaterally negotiated between the company and between the member states. So it's the member states that manage the vaccines that are delivered by the companies to them, and so they're the best placed also to give you information regarding expiry dates of these vaccines. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions on vaccines, vaccination, or health-related issues for Stefan? I believe that David has such a question. Go ahead, David. No, he put his hand down, so it wasn't about that. But Lukasz has his hand up, so Lukasz, go ahead.
No? Yes, I would like to know what is the state of play when it comes to European Union Eastern Partnership cooperation when it comes to vaccine deliveries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stefan, do you have any specific information on vaccines, cooperation with regards to the Eastern Partnership?
I don't have very specific information. As you know, with Team Europe, there is a very strong effort ongoing to have delivery of at least 100 million doses to different countries, including the Eastern Partnership countries, but I cannot give you any specifics on this moment. Discussions are ongoing, the work is ongoing with the member states. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Are there any additional questions for Stefan today? I do not see any, so I open now the floor for other topics. If you want to raise other issues with us today, yes, David, go ahead, vas-y.
Merci Dana. Ma question c'est sur Frontex. Après la publication du rapport du groupe de travail du Parlement européen qui met en cause l'agence, mais en particulier son directeur exécutif, au-delà des recommandations, il y a clairement écrit que le comportement de M. Leggeri n'a pas été très correct, disons comme ça. Je voulais savoir, Albert, si la commissaire Johansson ou le vice-président Skina, sous la commission générale, maintient sa confiance envers M. Leggeri.
Merci David. Adalbert.
Merci David. Permets-moi peut-être de te donner une réponse plus large et plus circonstanciée concernant ce rapport. La Commission prend note de ce rapport et des recommandations qui ont été fournies par le groupe de travail du Parlement européen, et la Commission demeure déterminée à travailler en étroite collaboration avec Frontex pour s'assurer que l'agence remplisse entièrement son mandat. Nous allons étudier les résultats de ce rapport de manière très attentive. Nous allons donner suite à celle de ces recommandations qui s'adressent à la Commission, et nous allons tenir le Parlement évidemment informé. Par ailleurs, nous allons continuer à travailler avec Frontex, avec son management et avec le conseil d'administration de l'agence pour s'assurer qu'il y a les freins et contrepoids appropriés au sein de l'agence, pour renforcer la culture de transparence et de responsabilité dans l'agence, ainsi que pour s'assurer que le respect des droits fondamentaux est ancré de manière structurelle dans Frontex. Comme le rapport le dit lui-même, les efforts de la Commission pour s'assurer que l'agence remplisse son mandat de manière correcte ne datent pas d'hier. Je tiens aussi à souligner que les événements récents aux frontières externes de l'Union européenne ont montré encore une fois que Frontex a un rôle essentiel à jouer dans la gestion des frontières externes de l'Union européenne, dans le fait d'aider les États membres et l'Union européenne dans son ensemble. Mettre en place un corps européen de garde-frontières et de garde-côtes qui soit fort, effectif et qui fonctionne bien demeure une priorité pour la Commission.
Merci beaucoup Adalbert. David, tu as une question de suivi, je pense. Vas-y.
Oui, merci. Et merci pour ta réponse, Adalbert. Mais ma question n'était pas sur l'importance de Frontex et la détermination de la Commission à faire ce qui est recommandé par le rapport et améliorer le fonctionnement, etc. Ma question, c'est sur le directeur exécutif. Parce que, comme tu le sais bien, au-delà des articles de presse que vous pouvez contester, il y a une série de rapports. Il y a un rapport de la Cour des comptes qui est sorti il y a quelques semaines, qui dit que l'agence, et je crois que le directeur exécutif a des responsabilités, vu son rôle, n'a pas réalisé son précédent mandat et donc n'est pas dans les conditions de réaliser son nouveau mandat. Il y a maintenant le rapport du Parlement européen, il y a plusieurs rapports des organisations internationales qui ne sont pas des médias, donc qui sont des institutions comme les Nations Unies, l'OIM, etc., qui pointent des responsabilités précises. Donc je voudrais savoir si la personne qui doit mener à bien cette refonte ou réorganisation, ce changement, tu peux l'appeler comme tu veux, c'est M. Leggeri selon la Commission. Merci.
Merci David. À ce stade, ce que je peux dire, c'est de répéter ce que je viens de déclarer, à savoir que la Commission reste déterminée à travailler avec le conseil d'administration de Frontex et avec l'agence, y compris avec le directeur exécutif, pour mener à bien toutes les améliorations qui s'imposent. Je tiens aussi vraiment à rappeler que la Commission n'a pas attendu tous ces rapports pour agir, que nous avons mis en place un processus au sein du conseil d'administration dès les premiers rapports qui ont mis en cause les agissements de l'agence dès l'année dernière, avec un processus au sein du conseil d'administration, la mise en place d'un groupe de travail dans ce conseil d'administration pour regarder de plus près tous les problèmes qui ont été rapportés et ensuite faire des recommandations afin de renforcer les processus internes au sein de l'agence et tous les différents éléments que j'ai pu évoquer.
Merci beaucoup Adalbert. Y a-t-il d'autres questions pour Adalbert aujourd'hui à ce sujet? Frontex? Ce n'est pas le cas. Merci beaucoup Adalbert. Y a-t-il d'autres questions pour Adalbert par ailleurs sur d'autres sujets qu'il couvre? Je n'en vois pas non plus. Il y a peut-être de Catherine. So Catherine, go ahead.
Hi. It may not be for Adalbert. I think it might be for Daniel. But I think next week the UK or a mandate will be set out for negotiations with post-Brexit negotiations with Gibraltar, with the UK about Gibraltar, and I'm just wondering, does that concern Frontex issues alone, and am I right in thinking that will be proposed next week? Thanks.
Thank you very much. This is something which is indeed for Dan. I hope he's connected. Dan? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dana, and thanks, Catherine, for your question. Just a bit of background on this. First of all, so you know that the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement excludes Gibraltar from its scope. You know that Spain and the UK reached a political agreement or a political understanding on New Year's Eve last year, and since then we have been going through that internally within the Commission with a view of proposing a draft mandate for negotiations with the UK on Gibraltar. I cannot confirm today exactly when this will be proposed, but I can tell you that this will be soon. And of course, the issue of border crossings will be included in that. But I cannot confirm now the substance of that, nor the exact timing, but just to say stay tuned for that.
Thank you very much, Dan. Are there any other questions for Dan on this matter today? Catherine, you have a follow-up. Go ahead.
Yes, hello. So my main question for Dan, I think this is going to have a very short answer, but the UK government is setting out its way forward on the Northern Ireland Protocol next week to the Parliament, just before it goes into recess. And obviously the withdrawal agreement and the protocol are an EU-UK document. So has the UK been in contact with you about this way forward? Have there been any discussions, and can you tell us anything about them? Thanks.
Thank you, Catherine. So Dan, please give us that very short answer.
Thanks, Catherine. Indeed, my answer can be very, very short. First of all, the President is in the beautiful city of Dublin this morning, where she answered questions and gave our position on the protocol. So I would suggest you take a look at what the President said there. Second of all, we will react to any sort of announcements that are made in due course, as usual.
Thank you, Dan. Are there any additional questions for Dan? Another follow-up by Catherine. Go ahead, Catherine.
So just to be clear, the answer is no.
So try even shorter, Dan.
Catherine, we are in contact with the UK as usual on various different things. I'm not going to comment on the exact substance of exchanges. Even when a public announcement is made, we will react accordingly.
Short enough. Thank you so much. Are there any additional questions for us today on any other topic? That is not the case, so thank you very much for the various exchanges this week on a very busy week for you and for us. Have a very good weekend, and Monday it's going to be Ariana who will do the midday briefing, because I will be joining the President during the visit to Czechia. Have a good weekend and see you next week.